Hey, JP, just wanted to get your assessment of the kicking game at this point after 2 scrimmages.
I was really pleased with the kicking today. I thought all of our specialists had a good day. We were perfect on our kicks. I think Tyler was 2 for 2 today. Ryan was 1 for 1 on field goals. We made all of our PATs. I thought the punters both had really good days, both with directional punting and hang time and distance. So I thought today was our best day probably as a unit for the specialists. In terms of just overall assessment, I think in terms of kickers, I think both guys have had a really good camp. And, I think here in the next week or so, obviously we're going to have to make some tough decisions, but both guys have competed well. There's been pretty consistent performances from both kickers, and that's a good thing to have that kind of competition in camp. Makes everybody better, and then it also obviously creates depth for your roster moving forward.
Ira?
Sticking with that, the kickers, because they're both older guys, are you confident they both understand that no matter who takes the first kicks on September 3rd, like that there's a chance one or both, both of them might end up being needed, or do you even talk about that, or do they just understand it?
We haven't really gone there yet in terms of what that would look like, but I think they understand how it works, and I think both guys know that you got to be ready when your number's called, regardless of the situation, and they compete well together. I think there's a good relationship and a good bond there. So I feel like the competition, although I know both of them want to win the job, I think they also are going to be supportive teammates. And if they're needed in the season, if we have to ever have a situation where the other guy is up, I think they'll certainly be ready to roll.
Matt with War Chant?
Yeah, last week you said Edmond and Turner were both standouts at defensive end. How did they look this week?
I thought Byron, I thought had a really good scrimmage today. He did a lot of good things. I thought Gilbert also had a good day. I haven't had an opportunity to watch the tape yet, but those guys continue to progress, and I'm pleased with our progress. I feel really good with that top 4 defensive end group. And now, it's about continuing to get them better, and then, finding that next guy that's going to be the 5th guy behind that top group of 4.
We'll do 2 more, Kurt.
Coach Norvell talked about Jared making an impact early today. He said, I guess, what have you seen from Jared this offseason going into year 2? And, I mean, it's an obvious question, but when he's out there, how much of a difference does it make for everyone else?
Well, Jared's an extremely hard worker. Going into year 2, I think his teammates probably know him better. I think he's probably a little bit more comfortable in a leadership type role. So I thought through the offseason, I thought I could see him kind of growing into that role of a little bit more of an assertive leadership position. In terms of the impact that he makes, I think he's one of the, I think he's an elite defensive lineman. So, when he's on the field, you definitely feel his presence, and he can impact games in a lot of different ways. And having him out there today, you did feel his presence and you did feel his impact.
Ira, last one.
With the return guys, do you envision it'll be a situation where these are the 2 guys on kick returns and this is the one guy on punt returns? You've worked a lot of guys there, but how do you expect that to play out?
No, I think we'll be settled into the group that is going to be our primary kick return guys. We have some pretty good depth in the kick return game, so I do think we have some flexibility and some multiplicity in terms of that. Punt returner will be settled in terms of who we want it to be. We may use two guys depending on situations, but once we settle into that and coach is ready to announce how we're going to handle that, I think we'll be pretty comfortable with who those guys are.
Awesome. Thanks, JP.
Thank you.
All set.